Okay, I would like to call to order the Monday, February 3rd meeting of the Monona City Council. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alder Kitzler?
Here.
Alder Wood?
Here.
Mayor O'Connor?
Here. City Administrator Gatto told me he would be a little late, so he will be here though. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the January 6th, 2020 meeting?
Move to approve. Second.
Any corrections or additions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. There are no appearances. There is no unfinished business. First item under new business, item 6A, consideration of resolution 20-2-2390, purchase approval of one police vehicle. Is there a motion to approve this?
Move to approve. Second.
Wally.
It's a resolution to buy a new car.
You just got the other one in service.
Well, I know, we ordered that one in March, we got it in
Really?
December.
Wow.
And it just went online Friday night.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so we're trying to get this next one ordered as soon as possible,
Yeah.
just because we don't know. This will be another hybrid vehicle. It's an additional vehicle to the fleet, because we found that with, more people working, there's less cars to use when we have traffic grants or if something big comes up and we need an additional car. It's a 2020 Ford Police Interceptor Utility Hybrid, all-wheel drive, and it's the same price as we paid for the 2020 that we purchased in 2019. The price hasn't gone up. It's through the state bid through Ewald Auto Group.
How many hybrids will we have then, once you purchase this one? Or is this just the second one, or?
This will be the second patrol unit, but it'll be the third vehicle that's somewhat of a hybrid. We bought a, what did we get? We got a Ford Fusion Electra or something like that, where it runs on battery power for the first 22 miles, then it kicks in with the gas engine. And I think it kind of goes in and out depending on what sort of driving situation you're in. So that's an administrative car.
Yeah. So you haven't really had a chance to see how the hybrid squad works if it just went into service last week?
It just went in Friday night, and I don't know if we filled it up with a tank of gas yet to see. But when we do use Quick Trip, we stress for the officers to use accurate mileage when they fill them up so that it helps us figure out the miles per gallon.
Yeah, that would definitely be good to know that. Any other questions?
Not really. You're down 2 cars though right now because of the accident?
Those cars are still functional.
Oh, are they? Okay.
We just had, the accident you're referring to is, last week we had a stolen car, report of a reckless driver on Broadway, and the guys boxed him in behind, right next to Antlers Tavern, and they tried to drive out and around him, and they hit the left rear of our unmarked squad car, and then they hit one of the marked squads head on. So there's minor damage, $4,000 damage to the one car, and the appraiser was just out from our insurance company today, and we have to see if we pay $1,000 deductible for each car or if it's $1,000 deductible for each incident. So if it's $1,000 deductible just for the incident, then we'll get them both fixed 100%. If it's just per car, on the one with the push bumper, we'll probably just try to straighten it out and keep it going. But they're both being used.
Okay.
They haven't been taken out of service.
Cool. Thanks.
That's good. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Joan, do you need a roll call for
Roll
this?
call, please.
Will you please call the roll?
Alder Wood?
Aye.
Alder Kitzler?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, item 6B, consideration of ordinance 2-20-725, amending Chapter 296 of the Code of Ordinances relating to massage and bodywork therapy. Is there a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Second.
Well, you're going to address this one?
Sure, I could. I think maybe Bill Cole might be here for council. He's the one who wrote the revisions. Basically, the state statute changed. Before, it was just requiring the establishment to be licensed, but not the operators, and now the operators have to be licensed too. So that's, in a quick summary, what the changes are.
So we're just changing our ordinance so that it mirrors the state
Yes.
law? Is that the?
So our city ordinance will mirror state statute.
Okay. Any questions? I think this is kind of interesting because they're trying to take away licensing of a lot of other, or do away with licensing of a lot of other occupations. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, item 6C, consideration of Resolution 20-2-2391, providing for the sale of $5,730,000 in general obligation promissory notes, Series 2020A. Is there a motion to approve this?
Move to approve.
Second.
Mark?
Yeah, so this resolution is the first resolution we do for the, basically authorization for Jeff Belangi to start our negotiations for the borrowings and then come back at the next meeting. There's two things here going on. So one is borrowing for the 2020 capital, which is a $2,980,000. And 2.5 of that is the general, and storm is 480,000 to get to 2,980,000. Then back in 2012, the way we kind of set these finances up, we kind of borrow out for 10 years or 9 years, and then we do have some lump sums in there at the very end, and we kind of we refinance. The reason why, and I kind of working with Jeff with these, and we've done these in the past, is doing these shorter terms of 9 years, we get a lot lower interest rates in the bond and the S&Ps like that. We get lower rates, and then if you do like a 20-year note, the rates are actually a lot higher than what we get. So it's why we do it, and that's why we kind of place the at the very end where we can refinance them kind of larger dollar amounts. So we want to refinance those. So the total we borrowed in 2012 was basically $5 million, but it was $4,950,000. We got about $2,060,000 left of general, $650,000 to stormwater. We got $40,000 left of the sewer, which I'm going to talk to Jeff. We have cash on hand, and see if when we refinance, if we just pay that off. There's no reason to really kind of refinance that portion. So that gets us to the $5,730,000.
So this is just to get permission to start the process, is
Yeah,
that correct?
then he'll come back with the rates, and we'd kind of do that. He'll get the rates, goes out and gets them. The process is usually we accept it, but if we find there's some reason we can not accept it. But since I've been here, we have never not accepted it. It came back to us.
Questions?
Yeah. Is there a difference between general obligation promissory notes and general obligation bonds?
No, it's the same.
Same, okay.
Yeah, just.
Anyone else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item, D, approval of funds for Renew Monona home loan for Peter Johnson, 1404 Baskerville Avenue. I could address this a little bit, Mark, unless, did you want to, or?
I don't really know what you think.
I'm sure Brian would
Brian.
have.
Move to approve.
Yeah.
I know it's a CDA.
Move to approve.
Second.
Of course, you two were both
That's it, yeah.
at
I wasn't-
CDA.
I wasn't there
Oh.
Oh,
that
okay.
night for this one.
Okay. Well, Peter Johnson submitted an application. I think it looks like it's primarily for window improvements, $18,952. The Renew Monona loan he's requesting is for $9,476, and this would, I think,
Increase the.
be something approved under our sustainability energy part of the Renew Monona
Yeah. Yeah, his original
parameters.
windows are, or his windows are the original to the house, so they're over 50 years old, single pane, rusting. He shared with CDA, so he's going to replace all of them.
Yeah. And the value of his home is in the correct range and everything, so CDA did approve this, and it's just our policy to have finance and personnel approve as well. So Doug, did you have any questions?
Yeah, so if he's going to self-finance his portion?
Yeah, I believe he's
Mhm.
paying it in cash. I mean,
So
his
how do
portions.
we still,
he still has to take a loan out as a second mortgage through Monona Bank.
okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
I think that's the only bank we have
So far.
arrangements with right now. Brian is
Right.
still working on other banks that might be interested. Anything else? Joan, do you need a roll call for this? It's approving a loan, so.
Sure. I don't know, because this isn't purchasing anything,
Yeah, it
It's
is.
good money away, it's like,
but it is, yeah, I think it should be a roll call, yes.
Okay. Well, if there aren't any other questions, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Wood,
Aye.
Alder Kitzler.
Aye.
Motion passes. On the final item, under new business, item 6E, review and discussion of draft family care paid leave policy. Leah is here to walk us through it.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. So if you recall back from last December, I came to this committee with sort of a spreadsheet of options for us to look at for the paid family care policy. And I had an alternate option that was kind of a new option that would basically make this a policy that employees wouldn't automatically get, but they would have to apply for, and they could be approved or denied for 2 weeks of paid leave in the circumstance that they had a family member who was undergoing a serious medical condition and they needed to take some time to tend to them. So this committee decided that's the approach they wanted to go, and so this draft that you have in front of you is a draft of that version. So I don't know if you want me to just go through it section by section, or you just want to ask questions of me on the draft.
Andy, did you?
No, I mean, I took a look at it. I don't need you to go through it
Okay.
bit by bit. I think you incorporated a lot of our suggestions. And I mean, frankly, it looked good to me.
I had a couple of questions. Doug, you didn't have any? Did you?
Go ahead.
I wondered under definitions, item B, I noticed the last version said this includes complications associated with pregnancy, and that's been dropped. Can we say associated with a spouse's pregnancy or significant other's pregnancy, or did we, or was
So-
there some reason for dropping that?
I tried to address pregnancy in a different way in this draft. I took it out of the definitions because we decided to make this draft applicable only to family members and not an employee himself or herself. So I addressed the pregnancy on page 2, item I. Employees can receive family care paid leave benefit and paid parental leave benefit in the same year if circumstances so dictate. However, the birth or adoption of a healthy child or the care for a spouse or partner during or after normal pregnancy and birth does not qualify for benefits under this policy. So I was hoping it would address it in that situation.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know if we wanted, I can understand how we wouldn't want to just say complications of a pregnancy, since we assume that'll be covered by the regular. But I didn't know if we'd want to say complications of a spousal or partner pregnancy. Do you guys have any thoughts about that, or?
I mean, that, I kind of read it the way Leah, I think, maybe drafted it, as that I clause kind of captured that if
Okay.
it is complications, I could apply and probably argue that it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. I mean, certainly, probably doesn't hurt to put it up in the forefront, but I could go either way.
Okay.
But again, I read it as providing that flexibility,
Mhm.
and hopefully whoever's approving it would agree.
Right.
Under item C on page 2, I think it's good that we're saying they can take smaller segments of at least 1 full day rather than saying 3, just because I know there's times when you have a lot of single days, so. In item D, it's not a calendar year, it's 1 year from the,
Correct.
okay. And,
I'm sorry, could I get that for the minutes? It's effective 1 full year from
From the first day the leave is taken.
yeah.
the first day of leave. Thank you.
And then, what this question was I had, then on item B, I guess my only other question was that in the original, well, in the last version, It said if there were a disagreement about a situation where the interpretation of appropriate use of this leave is in dispute, the city administrator shall make the final determination, and I noticed that's been taken out.
Well, I took that out because in this draft, we have a, sort of an approval group consisting of myself, the city administrator, and the department head. So, I mean, if we think that there might be a disagreement between members of the group, I guess.
Well, I guess that's what we had in the original version. It was a group also. So
Okay.
I just, it wasn't,
I can certainly add that back
I
in if
didn't
you'd
know
like.
if, do you two have any thoughts about that?
Well, it has to be one way or the other. I mean, you can't say, have him be part of a three-person group and then but have the final say unless that group is clearly just advisory to him. So
Like-
I'm okay with the group, and, you know, if it's 2-1, it's 2-1.
Well, this just said if there was a dispute, he would have the final say.
I guess
Right,
what,
but if there's a dispute and two of
Then
the
it's two of
members, if he's the one out of the three,
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
kind of, yeah. So-
Yeah. I mean, I think in the original or the previous policy, that policy was assuming that everyone got this leave and, you know, sort of the use of the leave just needed to be approved, whereas this policy, it's more, we're sort of either granting or denying the leave.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I was trying to think of another group that would do it, and I could only think of this, and I think that's not appropriate for us to be
Mhm.
deciding one way or another.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of somebody outside of that, and I don't think there's anyone else appropriate.
So we'll leave it at, if it's 2-1 or 3-1, whoever is the,
Mhm.
did
Is that
anyone else
them?
have any questions?
Yeah, I had one,
Doug?
or maybe just a comment, or make sure I understand it correctly, between the difference between a serious medical situation and one that's not. So
that's
it
the big
says
question.
a routine colonoscopy would not be considered serious and whereas, say, if they were having treatment for colon cancer, then the spouse could take that day off, say, to go with them to the treatment.
Yes.
If you needed somebody to take you there to a routine colonoscopy in home, can the employee, they would have to use like some other type of leave?
Yeah, that would be eligible for sick leave.
It would, okay.
Mhm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, we do allow employees to use their sick time to take care of a sick family member or take a family member to appointments, things like that.
Any other questions? So it sounds like we're okay with this, with the policy as written. Brian, did you have anything else to add about the sick leave or the family care paid leave policy?
No, I mean, I think Lee did a great job given the direction we got from the committee last time. So.
Okay.
Great job.
I mean, unless you want to keep working on it.
Yeah.
I have a feeling this is going to be a work in progress, I don't know. But
Yeah.
It hasn't been a full year yet, has it?
Do we need to approve it here to pass on to council,
Yeah.
or do we?
I assume that's what, I don't know what you
Yeah.
need to say. Review and discussion, like, yeah.
We do have, yeah, do we need to have approval on the agenda to do that, Brian?
No,
We just have review and discussion.
I could just bring it back next time for your final approval and then go to council the same night.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'cause I
Just
mean,
don't want to waste a week of your time.
Yeah, I mean, because we put it on the finance committee agenda before the next council meeting anyway, so that's fine.
So we
Oh,
can
I see
approve
what
it
you're
then.
saying.
and-
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
Thank you.
well, thank you very much for all your work on this.
Yeah,
It's-
thank you.
Like you said, I'm sure that this is not the last we've heard of it, but it's a good start. Okay, next item, our review of the checks paid January 3rd through acceptance of general fund accounts payable checks dated January 3rd through the 30th of 2020. Documentation of invoices paid is available in the city clerk's office.
So there's not a lot of stuff going on here, but page 23 or page 2 at the top, might be at the bottom. Madison Metro Sewage District, this is the Ohio Watershed Adaptive Management Plan. This is paid through the stormwater utility. That's what we budgeted.
I'm sorry, Mark, what page are you on?
Page 23 or 2, depends how you want.
2 on the top, 23.
Okay, and what were you referring to?
Madison Metro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to ask about, so what does that cover?
Does it all cover? I don't know exactly what all covers. I know Dan. It's in the stormwater utility.
So this is just what we've agreed to,
Just agreed to what we pay to. I think it's probably been 4 or 5 years now. So
okay.
it's budget through the stormwater. I'd have Dan. I don't know exactly what it all is. I know we talk about it at the budget time.
My recollection is we get some credit for our permit, stormwater permit
phosphorus?
for that.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, but,
Yeah.
okay.
Page 26. These Dane County, Madison schools and Monona Grove School, these are our December collections that we pay out in January. So we do it twice a year. So our January payments will pay it out in February. Collection was a little this year for taxes. It was slower than usual. I think with the change in the new tax law, people aren't rushing to pay them, and they're not paying the full amounts right away. Because you only get credit up to $10,000, so it definitely was not as big of a rush as it's been in the prior years.
Is that gonna make any difference for us in terms of how you handle things?
No, it's
In terms of having money to cover everything, we're thinking.
yeah, we have everything we need. It's just, page 28, you'll see a bunch of these throughout. This is Johnson Tree Care. They're in the process of removing the ash trees. I'm sure you've seen crews out there right now cutting them down. Sorry. Shoot. Page 34, municipal, MPIC, municipal property insurance, that's just our property insurance. That's what we budgeted for 2020. Page 36, we did a 1.1 time payment to, every year we do it to Dr. Yost for the medical director for the EMS. Page 40, Envision where basically $9,000 for the $9,500 for the self-checkout for the library. Page 20, or page 41, I'm sorry, Gordon Flush. This is the senior center copy machine, and they needed it right away. Homburg Construction underneath there, it's finishing up Riverfront. We have a couple more payments left, and then we'll be done. Page 44.
I had a question on 42. To the school district, the New Beginnings Work Program, I'm just wondering what that $735, is that like a sort of an internship program or something, or?
Yeah, I can't remember. I knew it was a donation, but before. It was a donation to the Parks Department. I can't remember offhand what it's for. I'll send an email on that. I can't. It's one of Jake's programs.
The New Beginnings Work Program?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I wondered if it was
Yeah.
some student that was maybe
Yeah.
working for somebody, or, okay.
Page 44, South Central Library. We pay up front, so that's why it's such a large payment. It's a one-time payment, and that's all I have.
Any questions? Is there a motion to accept the bills?
Move to accept the bills.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.